Hey guys, if you like this content, I would greatly appreciate it if you guys like the video and subscribed to my channel. It helps make these videos worth it going forward.
What's up, guys? Altcoin Sherpa here with the crypto market review. As always, this is not financial advice. I'm not an expert doing research. Okay, so this is BTC USD on the 1 day. And what are we seeing right now? We're seeing that Bitcoin is here in this multi-week range. We saw a slight deviation above that in early September, where price had this explosive move up, followed by a very quick retrace, just a few days later. But all in all, in my opinion, this 20,400 level is pretty significant. We haven't really seen many daily closes above that level. Late August, obviously, many days that couldn't close above it. Exploded up and then quickly retraced, followed by several weeks following from that all the way September, all the way to October, where price could not close above this level, despite testing it several times. So the fact that we saw a close above that level on October 26th, to me, that showed that price was potentially on the move of on the verge of a breakout, and we did see a quick retest down below that level. And it's quite possible that these levels aren't super clean, but overall I'm still pretty bullish, and I would like to see a further move up. I would like to see a confirmation move up above this 20,400 level. And to me, if we start to see some slow grinding up, I think that the 23Ks or even the 25Ks are possible. But I'll take it level to level. There's a lot of smaller levels in between. This kind of 21.5K area is an interesting level. Daily price could not close above the daily over several days on that area, as well as this kind of wick here around established in mid-June, where price wicked up above around 23K or so. That's another area of interest. But overall, it's to be determined if this really is a true breakout. If this is a true breakout, then I think that we should start to see some movement around here pretty soon in the next few days. And if we don't see anything like that, then I think this is just a deviation and we're going back within the range. So in my opinion, there's kind of two scenarios here. Number one, price either finds acceptance above this kind of 20.4K area, and eventually we'll go to this kind of 22K area, 22, 23K. I probably like 23K, honestly, but the reason being that if this is in fact a breakout, price chopped around here for several weeks. So, several week accumulation followed by just a breakout to like 22K or something, that would seem a little bit off to me, in my opinion. I would think that there would be some sort of stronger move up to 23K if this were to happen. But, I would like to see some grinding here and then a breakout. But there's also obviously the possibility that price just simply can't break above this 20.4K area and then starts heading back down to the lows again. Now, I have been of the opinion that these 17K lows are going to get taken out. I just don't know when or what it's going to look like. Something like, and I've had this view actually even since when this first happened in late June. I was pretty much of the opinion that these 17K lows are going to get tapped again. But again, I don't know what it's going to look like. The bottom line is that price has chopped in the same range for weeks now, and a big move should come, but the direction of which it's going to go, we have no idea. At least I certainly have no idea. Personally, I'm of the opinion that it's to the upside, and I think that something like 23K or something like that is going to happen, or possibly even 25 in the midterm. But I don't know what's going to happen after that. I'm going to play it level to level as well. I think that predicting too far into the future is very dangerous, and it's very unpredictable given the overall macro conditions. So yeah, let's just kind of see. But I do think that, this 25K area is an area of interest eventually. Don't know how it's going to get there. We should see a test of this 200-day EMA. We haven't seen a test of this 200-day EMA all the way since the spring of 2022, back in March, where price chopped around for a while and then had interactions with the 200-day EMA. But since that time, it's just been down only. And usually this is actually a good sign when we do see this 200-day EMA getting closer to price, because that means that price is consolidated and that it's properly accumulating. Whereas if you see like a quick spike up where price is like dumping and then it spikes up and then hits the 200-day EMA, call this 200-day EMA like that, then this is usually unsustainable. And this is like kind of what happened here back in March, where price interacted a lot with the 200-day EMA and then, eventually broke down. And, that what you really want to see in a total recovery is something like this, where price chops around for quite some time, weeks and months, given the context. And that's actually what we saw back in, this time period, a lot through 2020, and this is the FTX chart, so it doesn't have really old history. You'd have to go back to Bitfinex or Coinbase or whatever to see like what price looked like with the 200-day EMA at the bottom in 2018. Screw it, I'll just do it now. I was a bit lazy, but okay, here's 200-day EMA, and this is what you want to see right here. You can see that price was really trailing its 200-day EMA all throughout 2018. And then when price had that final drop, price chopped around for quite some time in the overall winter and spring of 2019, and then it fully exploded up. But what's important to note is that price is much closer to the EMA than it was back up here. This is not the type of price action that you really want to see interacting with the EMA. You want to see price having this like slow accumulation type of pattern like this. This is the typical price action that you want to see right here, something like this. Whereas this was just lower highs and lower lows. So in 2018, this could be compared, this summer price action of 2018 could be compared to kind of this spring and summer price action, more of the spring price action for 2022, where price just had these lower highs and lower lows. So you see like this type of price action. Whereas this current price action, I'm not saying this is the bottom, but this looks a lot better than what we saw back in the April and May area. And I do think that the bottom is a lot closer than back then, just because of the overall price action here and how long we've chopped around. Like relatively speaking, we have chopped around in this area for quite a long time. I mean, yeah, we've chopped around for 4 months now. Pretty decent. That's about the same time period that it chopped around in the 2018-2019 period at the bottom. And I'm not saying this is the bottom, but given this type of consolidation, I am of the opinion that the worst is mostly over, but it's still certainly possible that we could have one last final rinse, one final shakeout, similar to this 6K floor that happened in 2018. And we all know what happened. Price was at 6K for a while, then it had that last 50% push down. Could certainly happen here. I'm personally of the opinion that price is going to go a little higher first before it has something like that. So, maybe we see something like this where price grinds up to 25K or even 30K. And then I wouldn't be surprised at that point to see one final shakeout. Like maybe we see like one last final shakeout down 50% all the way down to the lows. Everyone's fucking bearish as hell, and we spike down to 15K or something, and then maybe maybe that's just it. Maybe that's the final move. Price forms this massive type of double bottom. So something like this where, price goes up to 30K, comes back down, then we chop around for several months again, and then we see some sort of like double bottom. Something like this would make sense to me, but again, I'm not predicting too far into the future. As I said, it's too hard to really call something like this. I don't think it's really useful, but nonetheless, I do believe it is interesting to think about overall for what type of bottom patterns could happen. But again, I'm just going to play it level to level. Still feel that this like 17.5K area is going to get taken out eventually. Just don't know what it's going to look like. I do believe that I think that everything looks pretty good though in the lower time frame charts, and I do think that we are going up. The EMAs, the 200 EMA, the red line, this has looked the healthiest it's looked in many months, honestly. Even when price chopped around here in this June consolidation period and price did trade above this 200 EMA, it still wasn't necessarily healthy because there was still a large gap between the price and the lagging EMA. And this is like, although we did see like all these higher lows that got established, price was still not super sustainable in the sense that price didn't consolidate with the EMAs for a while. Price traded above it and then it broke down. But for here, you can see a significant difference. Price is trading above this 200 EMA on the 4-hour, but it looks markedly different, in my opinion, October 22nd than it did right here, where there's a large gap, and then price has this explosive move from 19K all the way to 25K pretty quickly. Whereas here, you can see that price is interacting a lot with this 200 EMA. There's a lot more consolidation and a lot more, lot more chop and a lot more consolidation in this overall kind of range. So, in my opinion, price looks a lot more sustainable in this area, and I think that it looks a lot better here personally than it did back in this June and July period. So that's one of the reasons why I personally am of the opinion that price is going to go higher, is that price is chopped around for several weeks. Here, EMAs look pretty much healthier than it did back then. And again, I'm not calling a bottom by any means, but I do think that price just looks a lot better given the overall chart than it did back in the earlier periods. Now, you could also say, okay, well, in May it chopped around and then it broke down. Fair enough. I totally hear what you're saying, and I'm not it's certainly possible that price just breaks down. I'm not saying that we're just going to go higher. Maybe because if you take away everything else, if you take away the breakdown, like you could maybe make arguments that, yeah, this looks like kind of accumulation, right? This is like kind of similar to the current price action that we're seeing now. There are some differences though, in the sense that there's a lot more volatility. You're seeing moves from like 28K to all the way to 32, and you're seeing these kind of big candles all around. Whereas the current price action here, you can see that price is tightened up quite a bit. You're seeing these thin candles. You're seeing not as much crazy volatility, although there was some big spikes in late October here, or mid-October, where price had that big wick down, hit the demand zone, and then had a pretty bullish close. But overall, this price action to me still looks a little bit different than it did back in this May period, where you see lots of volatility, lots of swinging in both directions. Each day was just going up, then each day was going down. Whereas here, this was the same thing, up and down, but it's also just, you're making much smaller percent moves, and it's just very choppy. I'm sure lots of retail people lost a lot of money during this consolidation period, but yeah, I'm still of the opinion that I'm still bullish personally in the midterm. So those are some overall thoughts on Bitcoin. Please let me know what you guys think, and best of luck.